Okay, hello. So we're starting on the next section, which is Unit 7, Probability. Okay, you can find this section on page 199 of the book, which I'll put in the bottom, Math Literacy by Susan Nicole and others. Okay, so in this section, for the first unit, we're going to go over what does probability mean and just some of the things that we have to remember um, when we are dealing with a scenario where we have to calculate the probability, some of the things we have to take into consideration. So the first thing is, what does the probability mean? And probability refers to the likelihood of an event. Okay, so how likely an event will or will not happen. Okay, in the unit it gives an example of a dice. Okay, that when we roll one die or two dice, the likelihood of you getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is the probability. So probability of rolling a 1, probability of rolling a 2, okay, that's what probability refers to. So an experiment in probability refers to an activity which involves observing and recording results. Okay? So we call certain things trials. Okay? A trial is considered when you roll the die once. Okay, so that's considered a trial. The result of a trial is an outcome. Okay? So you can have many trials, which means if you roll, you could have 3 trials, which means maybe you roll the dice 3 times. The result of those 3 trials are the different outcomes you will get each time you throw your dice. Okay, so you have your trials. Okay, and the result of the trials is equal to your outcomes. Okay. So once you roll the dice and you obtain an outcome, this whole scenario is then called the event. Okay, so an event is the trial and the outcome. Okay? Now, with the probability, you can express it in 3 different ways. You can express the probability in terms of a percentage. Okay? You can express the probability in terms of a fraction, or you can express it in terms of a decimal. Okay, so these are the 3 ways in which you can express the probability. Okay, so the probability of an event occurring can be plotted on a probability scale, and on the scale this will range from the value 0% to 100%. So 0% would it be it's not occurring, 100% means it's definitely occurring. Okay, you cannot have a probability less than 0. Okay, that just doesn't make sense, and you can't have a probability greater than 100%. Okay, so on page 199 you have a probability scale there from impossible to certain to equally likely. Okay, so the probability of something being impossible on that scale, if it's in terms of percentages, so at 0% that's when something would be impossible. Okay, it's not gonna happen. Okay, the chances of me going to the moon tomorrow is 0%. Highly unlikely. Okay, then you have your 50%, which is your equally likely. So I could say the chances of me going to gym in the morning tomorrow, it's a 50-50 chance. I might go, I might not go. So that would be an equally likely probability. And then we have our certainty. Which could be 100% certainty that the sun will come up tomorrow. That's 100% certainty that the sun will come up tomorrow. Okay. So these can also be written in terms of your fractions, which you know, which would just be your half, 0, half, and 1 being your 100%. With your decimals, it'll just be in decimal points, 0.5 and 1 point. You could put 0, 0. Okay. So they also give the example of the situation with tossing a coin, where you could either get a head or a tails. So the probability of you getting a head and a tail, so you can imagine when you toss a coin up, you're going to get one or the other. You can't get both of them at the same time. So it's impossible for you to get head and a tail. So that would be impossible, 0% likelihood. The possibility of you getting a head or a tail is 50%, because we're looking at an unbiased coin, which means it's not like weighted on one side, so it's an equal chance of you getting a head or a tail. So that's a 50% equal chance of you getting a head or a tail. And then in terms of your certainty, getting either a heads or a tails, that could be 100%, because you only have two possible outcomes. Okay, you can either get a head or you could get a tail. Okay, from that tossing or that trial, okay, of tossing a coin. So it's 100% likely that you'll get a head or a tail. Or let me rather say, yeah, a head or a tail. Okay? So we're fine with our probability scale.